Welcome to Coaching After Dark with Coach Kim and Friends, the morning show for night shifters. Hey, night shifters.
So, CA,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm ready to hear about this little Havana.
That's me salsaing, but I'm sitting down.
Oh, okay.
All you see is shoulders.
Shoulder. We'll salsa with you.
Yeah. So my friend Nate Fox Cigars, she's one of the members of the Good Time Gang Cigar Club in Miami. And last weekend was the second anniversary of the Cigar Club. So the tour was kind of all over Dade County, but Saturday we hit Little Havana down in Miami. And if any of the listeners have ever been down there, you know the setup. If you ever been to Tampa and been to Ybor City, kind of the same setup. So it's one long strip of bars, restaurants, good food, music, and it's about 4 cigar bars, cigar lounges or whatever. And each had their own different vibe, but one, Havana, they took us on this slight tour of the lounge, and then one of the members gave us the whole breakdown of tobacco and talked about how some of the best places to grow tobacco and where it comes from, mostly in the Caribbean region. And Africa has some of the best product. Not, people think because they see it in the mafia movies and it's always the Italian guy smoking cigars and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But us as people of color actually been doing this for a long time. And they just broke down how to smoke it. I mean, even though I've been smoking for like 10 years, but still learned some things, how to cut it. And smoking cigars, I don't know, some people into it, some are not, but it's still like a meditation type deal, because cigarettes, you can smoke cigarettes. I've seen people smoke cigarettes like, back to back. But a good cigar might take you an hour to smoke. And it's about just unwinding, relaxing, and enjoying the smoke, because it takes people time to roll all those leaves and put the binders together and everything and get it ready for you to consume. We listened to some good music and had great coffee. If you've never had Cuban coffee, man, Cuban coffee. And it's only in a shot glass.
Wow.
But that is some powerful coffee. You sip it kind of like an espresso.
I do love an espresso martini.
I bet you do.
I had one today at brunch.
At brunch.
Did you? I'm so jealous. I wish I could make them at home. I'm sorry. Back to the seriousness.
I know you said it's all good. And we took the cigars and we dipped it in the coffee, and they gave us like a dark chocolate. I don't know, probably like 75-80% cacao, but real dark chocolate. And you just put a piece in your mouth, let it melt while you sip the coffee, smoke the cigar, follow it up with guava. I never had guava before as a candy. I've seen it on, pastries and stuff like that, but it came out kind of like taffy, like a thick block, but soft, sweet, a little salty, but just kind of melts in your mouth. And all these flavors combined while you smoking just gave the cigar a whole different experience. So it was lovely, man. And the food is good, of course, down there. Me being a vegetarian, I had to dip and dive and find something to suit my palate. But we had a great time, great music, good networking, because you had people from DC, Jersey, New York, Texas, all down there just, hanging out and kicking it. So if you ever get a chance to go to Little Havana, just take a stroll down the street. You'll see all the shops. And if you're a smoker, definitely go in and enjoy.
So, I have a question, because that sounds so intriguing.
It does.
You made a good comparison, like cigarettes, people are doing that for the nicotine. You fill up your lungs, you do this. But I know you don't inhale cigar smoke. So you're doing all of this on your tongue and your taste buds.
Right.
When you dipped it, did you like dip it in the coffee and now it's wet? Like, how did that work?
So the end that goes in your mouth, you take that, and I don't have anything in front of me. You dip that into the coffee, so you get the flavor of the coffee in your mouth as well with the tobacco, and it just kind of, I don't know.
Oh, I get it,
It's
because I do wine pairings and tasting, so I get like the
yeah,
flavors and the whole
all the
essence
flavors.
of the coffee bean,
Yeah.
and then the flavor of whatever cigar you have or the tobacco that's in there. And then
Right.
you followed up with like you said it was like a dark chocolate or the guava. So all of these tastes
Yeah,
are
all those
creating a
flavors.
sensation. Yeah.
And the chocolate, you don't chew the chocolate, just break off a piece and you just put it in your mouth, you let it melt while you sip the coffee, smoke, and it just opens up all these different aromas while you smoke. And I was just like, man, I've never done that before. Every now and then I may dip it in like some bourbon or scotch, but the coffee was so good, I had to buy a bag, because right there in the shop, they grind the coffee beans. And if you want to buy some, you can buy some. So bought a bag, and then I had to buy a espresso maker as well to brew it, because I only have a Keurig, and a French press. So, and it's the small espresso that you put on the stove and boil the water, and
Ooh.
then it just kind of percolates the coffee. And you only doing probably enough for 2 servings, so maybe like 4 shot glasses worth, because trust me, that's all you need. You don't need more than that. So it was a great demonstration and a great way to enjoy a cigar. My wife doesn't smoke, but after that, she was like, you know what? I don't really want a cigar, but I get it now. I get it.
Yeah.
So, I may be able to push her toward that lane one day.
Okay, and I have to admit, I was thinking the same thing as you were describing, and I was like, I mean, I wouldn't mind trying it just to see what those flavors are like. Now, Reese, you just said something that I didn't know. You said that you don't inhale cigar smoke.
No. So you inhale, and you just kind of hold it in your mouth. You don't the whole down in your lungs. You just hold it in your mouth to get the flavors and aroma. Then you just blow it out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because with cigarettes, the whole
Right.
lungs on fire, or for those who partake in medicinal purposes, you getting the whole lung effect. But with cigars, you just inhale and hold it in your mouth, get the aroma, then you blow it out.
So it's about you said aroma. I'm assuming there's kind of like something on your palate, a taste or something?
Right. It's different tastes. You have medium cigars, full body. Some have spicy notes, some have chocolate notes, some are creamy, nutty,
Really?
a little peppery. Just depends on the blend of the tobacco and how it's made.
Have you ever tried one, Reese?
So how I know you don't inhale cigar smoke? Because in my 20s, right, I've always been the cool kid. So in my 20s, when I used to go out and, I was a single girl and all that stuff, brothers thought that was cool. So, my crew, we would smoke cigars. And I think the first time I did it, woke up the next day and my throat was hurting and I was going to die. And then the next time I went out, it was some gentleman like CA who told me, that's not how you do it. So let me show you. So I've always likened it to the experiences of a wine pairing, or how now people do craft beer pairings with stuff, or whiskey or bourbon.
Right.
So there are, like CA was mentioning, all the flavors and the taste and what goes well with this. And, I like all things that kind of just set up a full experience for people. So I think it's kind of cool.
Very, very, very.
Yeah. See, you just made cigar smoking sound really, like Reese said, intriguing. I might have to try it one day.
And it's a chill thing. If you go in any lounge, well, I'm gonna say any, but most lounges, you go in, it's a chill atmosphere. Maybe some neo soul is playing, could be blues, whatever, but it's real laid back, and people are just sitting in their comfy little chairs and sipping whatever they sipping, and they just enjoying the smoke. Nobody's rushing to smoke it down to the nub, and everybody's just chilling. It's relaxing.
I know Go ahead, Reese.
I was gonna say what I like is, so I guess the first perception people get is like it's this smoke-filled room,
Right.
but the air is really clean and it's filtered out nice. And you walk into a nice cigar lounge and you can catch the aromas and all that, but it's not this smoke-filled room that's turning you off, because I'm a non-smoker. And so that would turn me off. But a really nice place has really nice ventilation.
Right. Right.
I'm glad you pointed that out, Reese, because that's exactly what I was picturing. It's like, okay, so you're just tasting it on your palate, but yet you've got all this smoke in here. So I'm getting secondhand smoke. So I'm
Right.
glad you pointed that out.
Because
Huh.
I've been to some places, not knocking them, but I've been to some places that's like smaller, the ventilation's not that great. And then once you get maybe 20 people or so and they're smoking, it's just smoke everywhere. And you're just like, all right, hey, it's time for me to go because it's too much,
Yeah.
kind of continue. So if I had a preference, I would rather smoke sitting outside in the fresh air so I can really enjoy it. But when the lounges are kind of like light traffic, maybe 8 or 9 people in there, you can really sit back and enjoy it. But the good lounges have great ventilation, so it's not an issue.
Oh, look at that. And I didn't want to skip over the fact that the cigar smoking actually started with us melanated people. I think you said from the Caribbean or out in Africa somewhere.
Yes, so I want to make sure I pronounce this right.
Okay.
It's Taino, Taino. They're like indigenous people to the Caribbean.
Oh, the Taino Indians.
Taino, there we go.
Okay.
A lot of that started there. That's the story he was giving us. They were growing their tobacco way back when, way before Christopher Columbus, all that stuff. And when they would smoke, it was more like a meditative, therapeutic thing. They would roll up the tobacco, and not like the cigars you see now, like the small ones, but it'd be like a big roll, because they would have a big circle and they just kind of pass it around, and people would just sit, smoke, and meditate. Because he said, they would use it to kind of, I guess, do some soul searching, if you will. It kind of opens up your, what's that, pineal gland right here in the middle.
That third eye?
Yeah, that third eye, so that's how they would do it. It was real therapeutic back then. It's therapeutic now, but that's how they partaked in cigar smoking back then.
Okay. Well, thank you for that edumacation, Mr. C.A.
Educational.
While we're on you and the topic of education, do you have a word of the day for us now that we finished the show? Maybe we can find a way to use it in the next segment.
I do not. I thought about that once we started. I said, I was so hyped up about cigar smoking, and in my book, I didn't even research a word of the day.
Oh, okay. Well, it could be the how do you say it, Reese? The Taino Indian?
Taino Indian.
Oh.
Taino.
Or the Taino people, because I think, if I remember correctly, I don't want to shout out her name, she might not like it. One of my current co-workers, we were talking about this, and there are no Taino people left.
Wow.
Yes, they're historically indigenous people to the Caribbean.
Right. They didn't come on a boat. They didn't, transplant. They were there already.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were there when it was discovered.
Yes.
Yeah. And their legacy lives on through the art and skill of cigar smoke.
It does, along with many other things. I mean, I know a lot of people talked about them with the last Black Panther. So the people that the Wakandans were fighting were technically Taino people.
They were awfully light, though.
Yeah. I mean, movies and whatnot. But
can't let us have nothing.
Nothing. So it was a lot of talk about that during the movie, and I remember people talking about that. Well, the Tainos are indigenous people to the Caribbean, and kind of went down that storyline. How the guy was named Neymar. I forget the name of the people in the movie in Wakanda Forever, but they were indigenous people that were, I guess you can say, somewhat portrayed hyenas,
Okay. Yeah.
or relatives, so to speak. But yeah, we've been here, man.
So yeah, I have one more question, and then I'm going to stop talking about these cigars. What makes a good cigar? How come, like what makes them expensive? Like if I'm buying you a cigar,
Mm-hmm.
what's a good cigar?
Me personally, I like Arturo Fuente. I like anything by AJ Fernandez, Plasencia or Monte Cristo. Drew Estates make great cigars. So you have light to heavy. If you see a light wrapper,
As
usually
in color?
light in color, like let's say like a khaki
Okay.
type color. Most of those are Connecticut blend. They're very mild, light smoke. Some say, you can smoke anytime, morning, day, whatever. Then the color gradually changes. Habano, Maduro. I like Maduro. It's a little bit heavier, medium to full body. Like a LFD Bull, one of my favorites. Now that's probably a $20 cigar. It may take you an hour to an hour and a half to smoke it because it's full body. So it's not something you want to rush and smoke, but it's all about the leaves itself. That's what would make a great cigar. They use different binders and fillers, and then they have a wrapper that's a different blend sometimes that they use. So the strength of it and what you're trying to smoke and whatever your palate is used to or capable. Because some will give you a headache. I've had some like it's one called Cigar. I don't know what it is about that cigar, but I can smoke maybe half, and then I started getting like a little.
That pineal gland opens up.
Yeah, I go like, man, I got to put that down. I got to put it down. But I've had others that are strong, but you like I said, it's not a rush thing. You take your time and smoke it, a couple puffs, put it down, have a sip of something. I would definitely recommend have a meal prior to having a cigar, so you have something on your stomach. But it's all about the tobacco. At the end of the day, you get some from Nicaragua, Dominican, grow good leaves. Just depends on what you're up into. Cuba, I don't want to say they have the best cigars because it's hard for us to get Cubans, but they're all the rave as well. But they make an excellent blend, and it's all because the soil is right over there, the temperature is right, and you can grow a good tobacco. So it's highly sought after. I think all over the world, everybody try to get, Cubans or whatever. So if you were to purchase me a cigar and you said, hey, I got you this Arturo Fuente Don Carlos, I would be most excited and pleased because it's a great cigar. Just like a Monte Cristo, great cigar, great binder, great wrapper, good smoke, good burn. And then,
Cohiba? Is that a good one? Cohiba?
Cohiba's good. I'm not a big Cohiba fan or Padron. Just depends. Like I said, it just depends on the smoker and your palate. I know a lot of people that smoke, they started out with acids. Drew Estate makes these acids, and they're flavor cigars like mint, chocolate, vanilla. Me, when I started, I went straight into the hardcore Rocky Patel, Cohibas, Gurkhas, stuff like that. So I went head into it, but I try to do my research on a cigar, so I'll look it up. And if you look up the cigar, it'll tell you where it was grown, the region, and it'll give you the notes. Hey, this cigar tastes like cacao and maybe a little leathery or nutty taste.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you want to try to dabble with.
Okay.
CA, are all cigars hand rolled, or that makes them more expensive also?
They do hand roll them. There's a lot of factories down south, and then they import it over here. But if you go to places like Havana, La Havana, in Miami, excuse me, or Tampa, Orlando. I've been to a few lounges that they have people that they roll their own blend there, and they'll sit there and right there while waiting, they'll do their thing, roll and cut, and make it right there in front of you. I would say don't smoke it right then. Take it home, put it in your humidor, wait a week or whatever, and then smoke it. I was able to roll my own while we were down there. So they had their rollers in the lounge. And if you wanted to roll one, you pay $20 or whatever, and they'll sit there and show you how to cut the leaves and roll it and bind it together and make your cigar.
That's
All right, Night Shifters, you heard it right here. That was our Cigar 101 lesson by Mr. CA. And this is all in preparation for his upcoming series where he will be going around and reviewing local cigar lounges and cigars within the area. So stay tuned for CA's Cigars and Things that's coming up. And hopefully he'll let me tag along on a couple of his shows, and then
Sure.
I can't wait to hear Reese and her wine aficionado, because I need to grow up and be a little more sophisticated and stop drinking coolers all the time.
yeah. So I found out I'm trying to bond more with people that I work with. And one of my coworkers, she's a level 1 sommelier. I found that super interesting.
That's so cool.
Yes. And one of my things that I really want to do is I want to take a Napa Valley wine tour. So she has graciously agreed to put together a nice little itinerary for me. But I think that is so dope. And I can see the connection between people who like wine and people who like coffee and cigars, because CA was talking about he went straight into the bolder tastes. So it's easy to venture out and say if CA was drinking wine, he likes full body red wine. Or he likes espresso coffee, because that person, those are the tastes that you're drawn to. So I like the connection of those things.
Right.
I love it. All right, Night Shifters, I think you've heard us talk for a while. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Because
February next year, right?
the economy,
You going back to Cuba?
because of the political situation.
Reese, it's the Marital Truth Letter. Have you seen it yet?
I've seen it. So
let me read it for the listeners, if you don't mind.
Yes, read it for the listeners. This is a fun one.
Dear Reese, I just turned 60. I hooked up with this guy recently and everything was fine until until everyone stuck their nose into it and he put a stop to it. The hardest part is that he lives and works in the complex. He's a property manager. He says he cares about me, but I have very strong feelings for him. I have told him I'm still attracted to him. It was my birthday this month, and he gave me a nice big hug. It felt so good when he did it. She sounded like Priscilla. He told me he didn't want a relationship with anyone, and I told him I have never asked for one. All I ask from him is respect, honesty, and trust. And then it's signed, fell for someone in the building. And since I can't screen share, I'll just kind of hold that up there.
Don't share. Okay. I love this letter. So I'm going to tell you why I love this letter. I love this letter because she's not asking us for advice so we can talk about her.
Right.
I feel bad talking about people who need advice. So I just want to look at this a little different. So fell for someone in the building. Since you haven't asked for any advice, I don't know your full relationship status or what you're looking for. But at the bottom, you said, I never asked for a relationship. All I ask for him is respect, honesty, and trust. But that's not what you're doing. So at 60, I guess you've decided you're going to start hooking up, but you don't know the definition of hook up. Hook up is no strings attached. It's keep your mouth quiet. So I don't know if you guys were hooking up, how did everyone start to stick their nose in it? So where you're falling for him and you're talking about it, you told that one person and said, oh, let me tell you. And then that one person, of course, told someone else and they told 3 other people. So there was some way that people found out that you hooked up with the property manager. So if he didn't tell, you told. He's going to say he cares about you because you know what? Newsflash, he cares about his job. I don't think it has anything to do with you. It has all to do with keeping it cordial and not pushing you to a place where you can interfere with his paycheck that's drawn every 2 weeks. So you can be attracted to him. The birthday gift was a nice, big, cost-effective hug. So he's not really interested. If he was really interested, there had been some flowers, there would have been a date, or some things. So my advice to you that you did not ask for is don't fall for someone in the building. That's the nice way I'm going to put it, because my parents would have said another phrase that I can't say, but don't fall for someone.
Right.
Don't confuse hook up with having a relationship. And it comes down to just knowing your role and clearly defining that role. So at 60, I wish you a whole lot of fun. I hope you would find whatever you're looking for, but know that you have to define these relationships and you have to stay in your lane. Coach Kim, do you have any?
Did she nail it, CA?
Yeah, sometimes I get nervous because when people ask for advice, I have to look at Coach Kim and Coach Isha because I want to make sure they put the real life coach seal of approval on it. But fell for someone in the building, you have not asked us for anything, which means, I don't owe anything.
Yeah.
She already know what time it is.
Yeah, when I saw the email, I kept looking for, did I miss something? Is there another part to this? Because what's the problem? There was no question. There was no question. So, I'm with you on that one. Like, okay, so she really doing this at 60. But, I'm not here to judge. So do you?
But I think the question is that she didn't ask. This is why one day I would love to do like a live letter. She wants to know how to hook up.
That's the question, and she just didn't know how to ask it.
Yeah. But if she's 60, she comes from a space and time where that wasn't really a thing, but it's a thing in the world right now. So, she's looking for that. But the question is, I want to do this thing, but I'm not doing it right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Good insight, Reese. Y'all know what I thought about when I read this letter? I immediately thought about my God.
No, not Lady Eloise.
You went back to Boomerang.
Not Lady Eloise.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
That's immediately what I thought about because all the co-workers at the office knew about it.
Laughing at my
Marcus
man.
was trying to hide it.
He was walking a green mile when he came to work the next day.
Yeah.
She put that purr on him.
Right.
That signature Eartha.
Yes, Eartha, the legend.
Coach Kim and Friends, the morning show for night shifters. Hey, night shifters.